Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Brothers Turtles.
Hello everyone and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host Stephen White and with me is, as always, Todd Stark.
Hello.
How have you been, Todd?
Good. Wondering where John is. He's absent.
Again. But it's fine. We're used to that by now.
He's
I hear an airplane. Maybe that's him.
If he
flying
parachutes
over. He's
in,
gonna
I will
parachute
kiss
in.
his ass. If he parachutes in. I mean, you can film it. I'll kiss his ass.
Okay, I'll whip out my phone and I'll watch the whole thing. That'd be awesome. So what you been playing this week, buddy?
I played... I revisited Bloodborne.
Okay.
And it's still just as hard as I remember.
Frustrating as ever.
I even messaged you about the weapons. I could not pick. I was chopping the shit out of that werewolf at the beginning. I could not fight. I couldn't get my weapons. And all I had to do was go equip them. I didn't do that.
It's okay.
And then I played Ghost Recon Wildlands, I think it's what it's called. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Not very far in it, but you get to interrogate people, and it's just, I think Ubisoft makes one game now, but they just skin it different. Like everything's like Far Cry now. You have these bases you have to go attack, and you go do it, and unlocks new parts of the map, or you get on this they let you build your skill points a little different. It seems like you can pick like if you want to go do that. Or go get weapons and stuff like that, you get to pick. But like interrogations give you loadouts, skill points, different things like that. That's about the only different part. But it's fun. I mean,
cool.
What I've played so far. What about you?
Mainly Monster Hunter. I've gotten pretty far in that. I'm currently on my way to fight the Nergigante, which is the big showcased monster.
Yeah.
But I've not gotten that far yet because I don't want this to sound bad, but I feel like I'm carrying other people's weight right now, trying to help them get to that point.
It seems like that is the way with this game,
right? And
they screwed the co-op up so bad it's hard to do.
Sure, but again, don't take that as I'm complaining. I mean, it's actually helping me out because when other people need to kind of get where they're needing to go, it helps me earn money, helps me earn stuff. So, I have a nice pack, pot of money. I have plenty of materials to make armor and stuff with, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, I don't mind.
If it was just
but I would like to advance
life.
a little bit in the story.
Yeah,
too. So it's not that bad. Plus, I went back to Injustice 2 to try out the Ninja Turtles.
How is it?
Yeah, they're very cool. Now the way they did it was not quite how I expected because when I first started, they gave you Leonardo, and then now, granted, I told you before they had the loadout screens for all the characters, and I thought, okay, they'll have them in separate loadouts. But they didn't, and I was like, well, this is where are the other Ninja Turtles? Come to find out, you have to go inside to the customization of the characters, and then swap the weapon, which will then in turn swap the character. So you can still load out each character as each turtle, but you have to make sure that the weapon matches the turtle. So if you want to play as Donnie, you got to have the bow staff, size and Raphael and stuff like that. So it's a unique way of doing it. Most of the fighting styles are the same, I will say, but they do have varying techniques for each one. So like Leonardo has you have a special move with each character where they have something they can do. He can actually call in the other turtles as backup. So they'll come in, do a move, and then you can just kind of keep going. Raphael, he's got, I don't know how to, I got it loaded up. I think it's like a charged system or something like that, how it works, but it's a brutal move where he'll sit there and it's like a close attack with the sai and he'll just wail on them. And I think you can get up to at least like level 4 on the charge, but I only got it up to level 2. But he was a little difficult to figure out at first because he doesn't really seem to have a move where the sais are always, working, kind of like Leonardo's katanas or Donatello's bow, because they'll just like wail on him. But he doesn't do that. So a lot of his moves had to kind of come by parrying and using some of the other moves. But he was also very quick. Like I had to do, I was trying the multiverse mission.
Right.
And got through the first 3 or 4 tiers that they had, but the final tier was fighting a like super buff Scorpion. And he kept stomping my ass at every turn because I wasn't buffed up enough.
Right.
For one, I think I had the Ninja Turtles at level 7 by the time I got there. And when they're super buffed, they have 1 life bar, but they have all this defense. So you can just sit there and pummel the shit out of them. And you're taking off like minuscule amount of energy at a time.
It's not fair.
I'm just sitting there pummeling the shit out of this guy. And there were times I couldn't even get a lick in. He just, throwing me around like a rag doll. But with Raphael, for whatever reason, as limited as his moveset seemed, he was the one I was able to take him down with.
Wow.
Like I figured out his movesets to just kind of hop around and move and just stay on my toes so he couldn't catch me.
Right.
So, and when I did it, I was just like, yeah! I was just so...
What did you say?
Well, something to that effect. I was probably cussing a lot more, but I just... I was so happily angry.
It sounded like he said, hit chip chair!
Something to that effect, but I was happy. The only character I actually haven't got to play with, and this is just because I haven't done it, I haven't played as Michelangelo. Because I only currently have the 3 loadouts, and I could swap one out, but then that means I have to reset everything, and I just was like, well, I'll unlock the loadout.
He's my least favorite anyway.
So, and I heard he was his movesets are a little interesting. Like you have to have a little bit more setup and time to do some of his moves. So that was I don't know. I'd still like to play as him though, but
right.
It was just interesting to hear.
How
that.
do they look? They look good.
Oh yeah, they look great. The whole interactions. They even had some little Easter eggs, and I don't think I would have caught it at first until someone kind of pointed it out. But if they have a skateboard, like Michelangelo will come in on a skateboard, and during their special move, he'll kind of jump up, and you can see the bottom of it. And there's a bunch of stickers on it.
Yeah. If
you take a look, there's a Big Apple sticker, and then right below it says 3 a.m. I don't know if you recall, but that was like the starting dialogue in Turtles in Time.
Right.
The old arcade game would be like, Big Apple, 3 a.m. And then you just go to fight.
That's right.
So
that is.
Just little Easter eggs like that I thought were pretty cool. And they even do, like in your fighting stance when you win, they'll chuck the pizza at the screen, kind of like they did in the old cartoons.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So there's a nice little love letter to the characters there. And they did them right.
They seem to get those characters right with Mortal Kombat and everything. It seems like they usually do them pretty right.
And I haven't seen this, but I read about it because I didn't get defeated, I guess, by any other character but Scorpion. And with Scorpion, it's like one and done, So if you get taken down, that's it.
You start over?
No, well, you have to continue on with the fight. Like you have to retry and go on, stuff like that.
Oh.
So it's you either beat him or you don't. But for whatever reason, I never got beat to the point where I saw this. But they said there was a character animation where you remember how the character or the Ninja Turtles, when they got beat in the other games, they would kind of be like sitting down and there were like the stars over their head.
Yeah.
They said that's in there, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh shit!
So I thought that was a nice little nod.
Yeah.
But I did see this other one that was pretty cool. Is like a fight, like when you end the fight or you're in between fights after you beat them the first time, they'll say something about being a great ninja or something like that, and you see a little rat come up and they'll bow at it and the rat will take off. So I don't know, just a lot of little things like that. It was pretty cool to see.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the news while we're getting on to everything.
Yeah.
First bit of news I got this week, and this was a slow news week, I think I told you.
Very slow.
I mean, but there were a few little details. Like this one here, I thought this was an interesting story, is that this week, Valve actually banned a developer called Insel Games from its Steam network for publishing false reviews. It was discovered that several accounts posting positive reviews for their games, in fact, were owned by Insel Games. Furthermore, an account was unearthed or an email was unearthed by that was sent by the CEO of the company, Patrick Stripple. He sounds like a champ.
Yeah.
Where he actually threatened the jobs of his employees if they did not purchase the game and post a positive review.
Wow. His name sounds like a flavor in Snapple.
Stripple. So what would that be?
Like
strawberry apple
and
wherever strawberry and apple.
Cheese. I don't know. Strawberry, apple, and Whipple.
There you go.
Whatever Whipple is.
They said that this email was actually sent out on December 14th of last year, and after which, if you paid attention to the reviews, they spiked immediately after that. So everything just kind of laid out. But good riddance, I say. If you're going to sit there and bullshit your reviews, then you don't need it.
Nope. So, I like that they did that.
For sure. So
shows that there's punishment,
Yeah, there's at least they're not going to just gloss it over and say, well, let's just, take down the game that they just positively reviewed or something like that. No, they said, screw you. Everything's gone. And
Goodbye.
I think they had a few decent games. I don't know what they were. I say when I don't know what they were, I looked them up. I didn't write their names down because they were not newsworthy enough to me to remember. It was just like, I don't know what this is.
Yep. Yeah, I've never heard of Insel Games.
No, I haven't either. But anyway, the next thing, there was another shift in the industry this week. Not really a power play, kind of like what we talked with Sony and Microsoft, but Takahiro Izushi, I hope I'm saying his name right, is actually retiring from his 43-year tenure with Nintendo. His most notable work was as a programmer for Donkey Kong.
The original?
The original Donkey Kong. He also had a hand in producing the Game Boy camera, as well as a few Pokemon titles and Fire Emblem titles. We wish him well in his retirement. That actually makes me feel old, man. And guys in the industry who made the games that we played as kids are now retiring.
Yeah, but he was old when he made Donkey Kong, man.
Probably, maybe. But you never know. I mean, if he's assuming he's 65 and 43 years, he would have been in his 20s. Think about that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just age different.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Japanese people. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that Japanese people, it sounded racist.
Yeah, a little bit. Those people just age
different. Those bastards.
Anyway, next story is Square Enix threw down yet another teaser for Kingdom Hearts 3, still in Japanese, so I still have no idea what they're talking about. But they're showing worlds we've seen and a few that we haven't. There was a Japanese-only trailer that mainly showcased a new world in Monsters Incorporated, but if you pay close attention, you'll actually see that the world of Tangled is also present.
Sweet.
I'm actually surprised they didn't go with Frozen. I'm glad they went with Tangled.
I heard they were going to do Frozen, though.
They still probably could, but I'm actually, if I had a choice between the two, I kind of like Tangled over Frozen. I think Frozen was just so Tangled blown up to the point where it was just like, my God, stop this. But I like Tangled. It was pretty good. Now, other details about the game were mentioned in an interview with Famitsu. Famitsu, am I saying that right? Famitsu?
I think so, yeah.
Like the possibility of over 20 different worlds in the game. I actually kind of hope, in saying that, I hope some of them, as they say 20, that we're talking about a few minigame worlds. I don't know if you ever played. Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts at all? Well, they had a few minigame worlds where it was like Winnie the Pooh, where it wasn't really a world that you'd go into and fight like you would some of the others. It was more like you're exploring certain sections of the 100 Acre Wood, and then you just encounter some of the characters in the game or the Winnie the Pooh's world, and then you just talk to them. So it was almost like a minigame world, so to speak. And even in the second one, they turned Atlantis or Atlantica or whatever the hell, Little Mermaid's world. They turned it into a minigame world too.
I just said Little Warway.
Little Warway?
Little Warway.
So I kind of hope that, as they say, over 20 or about 20 different ones, that some of those will be minigame worlds, so you can kind of explore them, but you don't really have to worry about combat and stuff like that.
So you could see a lot of different stuff now that Disney owns a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, because, they've really branched out. It seems like they're going to explore a lot of their new stuff, especially with Pixar, because we've seen Toy Story. Now we've got Monsters Incorporated. Mm-hmm. I'm a little curious if we might see, I think The Incredibles would be great.
I think I've heard that. I've heard Star Wars.
Star Wars and Marvel needs to happen.
There was going to be a Star Wars level.
Even if it's just something simple, it's there, and because you got the gummy ship. Think about that. You're flying around with the gummy ship, and you got the TIE fighter. Come on, it's gold.
It is.
If you've got to take time to make this happen, take time to make it happen.
The gummy
You've
ship
waited long enough
Falcon,
as it is.
work out great.
It would. A few other things that they were talking about is, like I said, the return of the gummy ship. They mentioned a giant land-themed world, which I think is from Mickey and the Beanstalk, that would actually be implemented into the game like an old LSI game. Do you remember those? The little cheap handheld games you'd buy at Walmart.
I remember those. Yeah, I had a baseball one.
Yeah. Bloop, bloop.
Yeah.
It was just... So however they plan on doing that, I think that's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how they want to do it, but still pretty cool. No word on whether or not we'll actually see this game at E3.
We'll see it at E3.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I think they might be a little bit more focused on Final Fantasy VII. I mean, they still could be focused on this, but whether or not we'll get a release date.
Square Enix runs weird. Like, that guy is always like, if I'm not mistaken, the same guy that does that is doing Kingdom Hearts also, right?
I believe so.
Am I right about that? Yeah. He's always like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish this before I do this. So they might not even be working on like Final Fantasy VII. They just keep showing little things like, hey, go do a trailer.
That's like Guillermo del Toro. He's always got 100 different projects on the burner, and it's like, pick one, dude. Just focus.
This dude like just strictly stays on one till he's done. It seems like. What was the last one he did? Not Kingdom Hearts. What's another game he does? Oh, I think it was Final Fantasy 15.
15.
Yeah, I think he finished that. And then he said, when it's done, I'll move to Kingdom Hearts. And then now, when Kingdom Hearts is done, he's going to move to, what was the other game?
Final Fantasy VII?
Final Fantasy VII, yeah.
Well, we'll see. All right. A few little rumors I've got here I just wanted to throw out.
Rumors.
There is a rumor that Turok Dinosaur Hunter is coming to Xbox.
Oh, okay.
That was my reaction, too. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good job.
Another one is that there's a rumor going around that Lucasfilms has been talking with Activision and Ubisoft, no doubt to jump ship or get away from EA, but I feel like the contract with EA is still, in force, so I don't know if they can actually do any kind of negotiations, but talking they can do, just to say, hey, testing the waters, see who might be interested and who could do it right. I don't really know if those are the two I'd go for, but fair enough.
I'll say this. If you're wanting to make an online shooter, you go with Activision.
Yeah. And if they're wanting to keep their Battlefront franchise, or at least, I guess they'd have to create something new.
No, they just keep Battlefront, I guess, right?
Think so?
I don't know.
Well, whatever they do.
Does EA own Battle? I guess that maybe they own Battlefronts.
I don't know. I don't know what the stipulations are. I don't know if it's EA owns just the Battlefront titles, but yet Lucasfilm retains the rights to Star Wars or what. Right. So I don't know. That's muddy water as far as I'm concerned.
Who did that, the Star Wars with Starkiller?
Wasn't that EA was it somebody else?
I don't remember.
I think it was EA.
I kind of think you're right.
No. You know what they ought to do with Disney? Disney needs to just revive LucasArts. I feel like they could have their own in-house gaming developers, and they could afford the best. Mm-hmm. They would make such great games. I don't understand why they don't do it.
I mean, I think they made a really good choice with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly with that Avengers game, it's looking nice at least. So if they do it like that and pick the right people, and I think what happened was they had EA already had Battlefront, so that got screwed off of in the get-go. It's kind of like the X-Men; they belonged to somebody else and couldn't get them.
Not for much longer.
Do what?
I said not for much longer.
Yeah, so, that's true. We're gonna see some X-Men probably.
Woo.
Really good X-Men.
Let's hope.
Jamie Foxx gonna play Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
Watch.
All right. Well, that's all the rumors I had.
That's it.
Yeah, it was.
You don't talk to nobody else?
I told you there was not a whole lot.
I heard about somebody at work did something to somebody else.
That's not.
That's a rumor.
But that's not
somebody at work did something to somebody else.
I'm gonna move on. This is fact. This next story I have is
I like facts.
Is we may have mentioned this on the show before. I couldn't remember sometime last year that there's going to be a Five Nights at Freddy movie that's been kind of being batted around and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Well, this week there was a huge move forward in development because director Chris Columbus has signed on to the project, not just to direct, but to write and produce as well.
Christopher Columbus, like he's done good since he came to America.
Yeah, he has.
1492.
He's an old
bastard, but man, he owns his own like filming company.
$14.92 pictures.
Yeah.
Now,
Doing good.
As I said, the movie adaptation has kind of been lingering about for some time, but I feel like this should work on a low budget. But the fact that they've signed him, I feel like it's going to elevate it a step farther. But I don't know if that's for good or bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't know, Chris Columbus, he's actually been in the business for at least 30 years.
400 years.
30, 40 years, or however many years you want to go back. He actually directed the first 2 Harry Potter films, Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and he actually wrote hits like The Goonies and Gremlins.
He only wins. That's all he does.
That's all he does.
He wins. He makes really good movies. Did you say the first 2 Harry Potters?
I did.
My favorite too.
They're great.
That is my favorite too. My next would be Prisoner of Azkaban.
Now, with him attached, I have no doubt this movie's going to happen. Right. Unless, something just goes balls nuts crazy, and I guess the creator of the franchise says, I don't like that.
I think as soon as you sign him, you just shut up.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing.
But my question is this. He's never done horror?
I don't doubt that he can't do it, though.
But is he going to do like PG-13 horror
I don't
with
know,
a
but
dark
think about
twist?
how, Harry Potter had some dark moments in them first 2.
Well, that's what I'm a little curious about. Is it going to be like Gremlins type dark horror?
I don't know. What if, as long as it works? I mean, I think this movie, you really kind of want to go that route because you want to pull those kids back in, the ones that played that game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think
although they're a lot older now.
Sure.
If you think about it, honestly, so you could really kind of up the ante a little bit,
But you definitely need to make it terrifying in some way that's not just jump scares. Because you could easily just say, well, they just did jump scares in the game. I just do jump scares in the movie.
You need to build that tension.
Yeah, do something else to elevate it farther.
If you can, because, like those jump scares in that game, they're coming, and they make you feel like, God damn it, like, it ain't even scary, but damn, I jumped, But if you can catch that feeling in that movie and then make the jump scare, like, terrifying, that's a whole different feeling, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But that would work. I'm excited, though, that he's doing something with it.
And like I said, it's a different type of pedigree. He's a damn good director. Mm-hmm. It's just whether or not it's going to be the right fit.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
I think it is.
I even feel like he could probably work on a lower budget and just kind of make it work.
Well, when you go back and watch Harry Potter, the first couple, like, there's some low budget stuff there. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they did a lot of stuff to make it. But they used a lot of small stuff in that too. Yeah, I think.
All right, I've got a few quick hits.
Quick hits.
These are just little things that I just wanted to bring up.
Quick hits.
I
think we just call them quick hits.
Okay, fine. We'll call them quick hits. No. First one I got is there was a. I don't recall this being announced, but I just happened to see a trailer for it. PSVR game called Knockout League.
Yeah,
looks
boxing,
like
you get the octopus.
Punch Out.
Yeah, I can't wait to play this.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
I'd like to check it out.
It's kind of the only thing that worries me is like the special powers that those dudes have. I'm like, how's it gonna work? Am I gonna shoot a rocket out my glove? I don't,
Yeah, I don't know.
And how much if I can stand in one spot and punch, and move my head, I'm okay with that.
Now, if this can work 10 times better, now, and this is not to take a jab, no pun intended, at Wii Sports boxing. Mm-hmm. I mean, that, you could get a good workout if you kind of punch, here and there just right. But I want to know that this is like the punch-out game we've always wanted. Because they did punch out on the Wii, and it worked to a point.
Yeah,
but
I never played it.
I don't know.
It's funny, like, you just now started where you don't play Nintendo games, like Zelda's this first Zelda you hadn't played.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first Punch-Out I didn't play.
Mm-hmm. And it was fun, don't get me wrong. But it was just
awesome. But, yeah, I didn't care to go. And I even had a Wii for me. I was like, I ain't going to play it.
Next Quicket is, if you don't know, now is a great time to get your hands on a PSVR.
Definitely.
Because from now, I say now, February 18th, it'll be now when you hear it. From now until March 3rd, you can get one for $100 off. So $199.
And that is an awesome deal for that.
And from what I also hear, that also stretches out to bundles, like the Doom VR bundle. You can get that for $299.
Nice. Okay, now what does this entail with it? Is it just the headset?
I think it's a headset and the camera and I guess all the basics.
Okay.
But if you get the bundle, you get all the extra stuff that goes with it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Or I bet. No, I mean, it might have the Move controllers with it. Can you buy the Move controllers?
You can buy them separate, yeah.
And it might just be the camera then.
Yeah.
I bet it just comes with the camera.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I bought mine, you couldn't buy any other bundle except for just the grand bundle, I guess, because they didn't want anybody to get confused and send a mixed message immediately, Oh, you got to have this, this, and this. Well, you got it in the box. I know it costs us like $4.99.
Yeah.
But you have everything you need right here.
You got to make sure that you tell everybody what you're getting. Don't screw them over. Next Quicket is, I don't know if you heard this or not, but Horizon Zero Dawn won a Writers Guild Award for Best Video Game Writing. How about that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
They got screwed out of their Game of the Year, but at least they got a WAG Award. I think that's what it's called, or WGA. A WGA. That's what it's called. I said WAG. It doesn't matter. Next thing is Friday the 13th.
Right?
Huh?
Writers After Guild WAG.
Yeah. Friday the 13th is getting a new update where you can actually swap weapons between each Jason, which I thought was kind of neat.
I did see that too.
So that would...
And you know about... Oh, so you mean like you can get this Jason's weapon and put it over here?
Yeah, because, I mean, right now, as the game stands, each Jason has his own unique weapon. But maybe you want to play with this Jason because he's just kind of cool, but you want this other weapon over here. Because I'll say this, one of my favorite Jasons would probably be 6. He's pretty cool. But I love the axe that Part 8 has because that son of a bitch can chop down through a door like nobody's business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of want that axe, and I don't have it because with Part 6, he's got this big spear, and it doesn't chop through a door.
You can spear the door?
Yeah, but it takes so long. Like, I'll tell you this, I played as Roy in Part 5.
Yeah.
And his little hedge trimmers. That does not cut down a door with a damn. It was terrible.
No,
it was just...
You talking about the one he took to stab chick?
Yeah. And they work great as a, killing tool, but everything else, no. It's terrible. So, I don't know. But, no, that's a great idea. I'm glad that they're allowing weapon swaps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so great. You can have, I think they said the kills will also roll over too. So whatever weapon-related kills go with this Jason at the moment, now that'll just roll over with the weapon.
So, in a sense, you can create a loadout with Jason.
Yeah.
How many weapons can you have?
Well, let's see. I guess it would be one per Jason. So you've got currently 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what? 8?
Yeah. So your favorite one's the axe?
Yeah, as far as weapon, just because of the versatility of it. You know, if I want to get through a door, that's going to do it.
Can you throw it?
No.
I haven't played.
Well,
I watched you play.
I say you can't throw it. You can throw it in a kill. It's just not like throwing it to catch them. There's a kill for it where you just kick them back and you chuck it. So
I wonder if we could get online and play this game.
What, Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
I would like to know.
Instead of Monster Hunter.
You never know.
That game won't let me hook me and you play together for some reason.
He's playing that now. Have you seen that Friday the 13th? So
who's that?
Heath.
I noticed that last night. Yeah.
He sent me an invite at the damnedest time. Didn't text and say, "Hey, do you want to play it?" Just sent it to me. I was like, "Dude, I'm getting off right now. I can't.
I'm getting off. What was you doing?
I was getting off the PlayStation.
Oh! I was fixing to congratulate you.
No. I mean, you can some other time, but
congratulations.
Not that time. And lastly, in Quickets is virtual reality. The Rick and Morty VR is coming in April. Yay.
Are you excited about that?
I kind of am, yeah.
I need to watch
Love that show. Yeah, you do. You still have my set sitting over there that you've never watched. Right? You've had it for, a year now?
I think a little longer than that.
Jesus,
it's right there on the top shelf, though.
I know. I kind of want it back at some point,
but
you just won't watch it.
You know what? I'm going to watch it tonight.
Please.
I'm going to watch it tonight. Please do. Can Peyton watch it?
No.
She's almost 9.
What are you going to... I mean, you're going to have to explain a lot to her.
Okay, what's the language like?
Pretty coarse.
Like, rated...
R.
Oh. Well...
Yeah, so, that's an uncensored version.
Is there any F-bombs?
Oh, yeah, plenty.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Can't let her watch it. No, she's going to have to stay in the back room.
So, I mean, if you're watching it on Cartoon Network, you could probably allow it because you'll get bleeps and stuff like that, but that's uncensored, so.
Oh. How many episodes is on that?
10.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that
for 10. That's it.
God, why didn't you tell me that sooner?
Just 10 episodes, dude.
Why didn't you tell me that?
I'm sorry. I thought you may have looked at the artwork or something like that.
Not being funny.
10 episodes.
Yeah.
5 hours of your life.
5 hours.
You'll never even know it. And that's even being generous in your time because each episode's like 20 minutes.
20 times 10 is 200 minutes.
There you go. Do your math. Come on. 3.
Oh, that's 4 hours.
No.
60 times 4 that's 240. That's less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a little over 3. 3.5.
Okay. I want to hear that you watch Rick and Morty.
Is there gonna be a test Monday?
Maybe.
Will you be my friend?
I don't know. Only if you watch it.
If I watch it,
okay,
you'll be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Last bit of news I got is news came out last week, and somehow I missed it, that Google is throwing their cap into the console market.
I read about this for a second.
According to reports, the Google Yeti, which I think is just their project code name, will be like Netflix for games, where games will be hosted on remote servers, then streamed to your television via a dedicated hardware system.
Right.
Some are actually speculating it could utilize the Chromecast as a viable option, but I don't see that being plausible. No details outside of this have been released, but it is known that former PlayStation and Xbox executive Phil Harrison was hired to lead the project, and that it has been in development for 2 years now. This is funny because we talked about this not that long ago, this business model of them doing that.
Yep. Well, okay. That is basically PlayStation Now.
Right.
And it's ran the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything's off a server, But
what are they offering? I guess that's my big question.
Yeah, what are they offering from who? Because not just anybody's going to want to jump in on this. How much are you getting paid for this?
I mean, my first instinct here would be that they are offering Google Play games.
That's what I was fixing to say.
Android.
I think that's what they're going to do. So this is going to be a failure.
And in some aspects, I'll say this. In some aspects, I could see this being a good thing depending on the game. Because there are some games that, they offer you on the phone. I'm like, I don't want to play this on my phone.
I agree with that.
I would love to play this. This is awesome, but on my phone?
Yeah.
On my TV, sure. Not on my phone.
Well, so you make it, I guess you make the platform a lot like producing for making a game for like a cell phone, but it being way more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it could probably work. These these developers already start, they're familiar with it maybe.
Yeah. I
don't know. It could work.
It could. I mean, I know we talked about it in length last year when EA was talking about it, and we even pitched this. What would it be like? Netflix for games, but we always kind of stuck with internet connection and service and stuff like that,
and microtransactions in some of those games. Well, you're talking about a lot of free to play games.
Yeah,
and a lot of games that even when they're not free to play, they're not very long. If that's the only thing they offer.
Yeah. But again, we're speculating that that's what it is.
It's just a rumor, guys.
We don't know. We know it's happening. We just don't know beyond the fact that it's happening.
That's speculation also.
Very true. Okay, I'll give you that.
I'm just kidding. It's probably going to happen. Google's pretty big. I'd feel more comfortable if it was Amazon. I feel like Amazon would go out and try to get some of these.
Didn't they kind of try that? And
when?
Like their Amazon Fire.
I think that was more geared towards multimedia, trying to get you on there, like a Fire Stick for. You don't need it anymore, really. Those things are kind of obsolete now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, we'll see. More on this as it develops.
You can crack that damn thing, like you can have homebrew shit on it, and it will be awesome, and it will sell like. That's wildfire.
What I did to my Wii.
I know. Think about how long ago, the Xbox 360. That was the first console I remember that you could hack the piss out of it. And they said that got a lot of sales for them on that, even though it can suck for you.
Yeah, very true. All right, on to weird news.
Weird news. You want to know weird news right now? I just got a text from John Taylor.
John Taylor,
and it says. I'm reading this on this is live, John.
Okay.
2 days from now. No, sorry, I completely forgot. Been a day, man.
Been a day.
Wow. John, we're disappointed. It's been a day for everybody. It's always some kind of day. It's Friday today.
It is Friday.
It is. So it's been a day.
I mean, my day could have been a little bit better, but it's been a day.
I wasn't with a babbling idiot today.
That's right.
It was awesome.
So that's always a plus. I actually had good headphones today, so I didn't have to hear all day or all day.
You would not be able to go to Japan.
Probably not.
Like, this is just from my experience with Japan, and when I say that, it's like watching Mr. Baseball. Movie.
Yeah, because that's a great history lesson, man.
When they eat the you seen this movie?
I know of it.
Okay, they're eating the rice or the noodles or whatever it is, and they're just like, and they're like, no, it's customary for you to do that. It's polite. Suck on the damn noodle, So Tom Selleck sucks the whole plate up and then looks and just kind of shakes his head. And everybody's like, damn, that ain't what we was talking about. I feel like that's what I would do.
Okay.
But that is my experience with Japan. And with the slurping, I don't think he would handle it, man.
Well, it's not slurping. He's hacking up.
But you said
that's like drinking out of a bottle or something like that and having to get every drop like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I would be worried. I would bring your good headphones.
Okay, well, I will trust your
Walkman.
Knowledge of Japanese culture via Mr. Baseball.
Mr. Baseball.
All right, weird news outside of John.
I'm sorry about that.
Have you ever wanted a fighting game where you don't fight as a multicolored ninja, a super buff superhero,
Nope.
or even a mega charged Super Saiyan?
No.
Have you ever wanted a fighting game where you throw down as a pony?
Ponies are actually quite lethal.
Well, good, because now you can. You can fight as a pony in the forthcoming crowd-funded game, Them's Fighting Herds.
Them's Fighting Herds.
Them's Fighting Herds. Now, this is originally envisioned as a My Little Pony fighting game, but the game actually had to rebuild itself from the ground up to distance itself from the franchise because Hasbro wasn't having it.
Yeah. You can't just run up in there and say you're going to make a My Little Pony
I know,
thing,
exactly,
you know
right?
I'm going to make a G.I. Joe game, man.
Yeah. But ironically, the game is being produced by My Little Pony series producer Lauren Faust. She actually created all the designs and everything, too. So, how weird is that?
Well, 'cause, Hasbro don't get none of the money.
No.
That's why they're pissed.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't having it.
But this is actually releasing on February 22nd for Steam and Humble Store for $14.99. So shoe up your hooves and get ready to kick the shit out of ponies. I really don't understand the pony craze or even the brony craze for that matter.
I don't even want to hear that word again.
I know.
Bronies.
It's just like, I don't get it.
I understand little girls like my little girl liking My Little Ponies. Fine. It's pink. It's got hair. It's got a brush. You brush the shit out of it, right? Okay. Why in the hell would a guy ever like that?
I don't know.
I mean, these dudes, have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
Oh, my God. I threw up.
All up in your mouth?
I throwed up because that was just, I was like, what is this? What planet is this?
I don't know.
That's got to be Uranus. Those people are from Uranus.
Yeah.
Bronies. That's what they're called. And they have, we love My Little Ponies. Take me to your leader.
And we've just pissed
Donald
off
Trump.
the world
He's the
of
biggest
bronyisms.
Donald Trump's a brony.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That'll explain his hair.
Yeah. Like, what would
horse
he call
mane.
Yeah. You let it down, like all of a sudden his like little unicorn horn will pop up.
But yeah, whatever. Sure, Them's Fighting Herds. Get on it.
Herds. Love it.
Now, while we're on the subject of fighting games, there was an announcement a few weeks ago, but just in case some haven't heard,
which we probably haven't.
Here you go. And yes, I do consider this weird, as some might not, but I do. This is just
titty fighting game.
This spring, Shaq Fu is coming back.
I've seen that. Yeah, like Reborn or something.
Reborn, the legend Reborn.
Yeah, no.
It's coming out on all platforms. If you're not familiar, Shaq Fu was a big pile of shit.
It was terrible.
It was just this weird ass game that just was not good. It was not playable. But somehow has just gained a cult following enough to make this crap happen.
Okay, like if they have the Fat Shack now, I'm all for it.
They might. At least in the announcement trailer that they showed, they do they seem aware how bad the game was,
right?
Because they poke fun at it and make jokes, and it's like, this is going to be better than that. But wouldn't it be funny if it's not?
I hope it's not. I hope
like it was just as bad.
Bad graphics and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it from what I saw, they're using like the cartoonish. I don't really won't call it cell shaded, but the graphics it went from kind of, because didn't they have like live action, like the Mortal Kombat style look?
Yeah, Pit Fighter Mortal Kombat type. Yeah.
But no, this time they went with a more animated approach, so that's already a good start in the right direction, but still.
I got to see what Shaq Fu looks like. I can't remember. I can see, I think he threw basketballs at you, though.
Yeah, something like that. And wasn't he on like another planet or something?
Oh, Lord, I have no clue.
I don't remember. I just remember it was just a terrible, weird game. All right, well, while you're looking up Shaq Fu, I'm going to bring up our topic this week.
Oh, look at the cover for Shaq Fu.
Yeah, I remember that.
Terrifying.
I remember that very clearly.
Terrifying.
I mean, Shaq Fu.
Really?
Just like, how about Shaq? But he does Kung Fu.
We call it shit Shaq Fu.
Dude, game. Immediately, that was the pick. All right, here's our topic this week, and I just wanted to toss this out, see if we can get a bit of a discussion going on. It doesn't have to be a long discussion, just a discussion.
Just a discussion.
Just touch on it for a moment. In previous episodes, we've discussed EA's fumble with loot crates and the controversy that ensued. We also mentioned how some lawmakers were pushing for legislation to ban this practice outright. This week, Hawaii actually introduced a set of bills that aim to limit what can and cannot be sold into loot boxes. Now, as of recording this, these bills have not been voted on, so I'll let you know what happens when that does pass or not pass. But the question I'm posing today is, if this bill does pass, do you feel that it will open floodgates for more regulations in gaming? Now, for me, in saying this, I really don't know where there could be other regulations, because microtransactions and things like that, they really kind of opened a different setting for games where gambling could be seen, in a manner of speaking. Right. But I did start to wonder, where you have all this pushback with video game violence and things like that, because we just had the school shooting this week, and yet another senator is pointing the fingers at video games. Do you think that they would actually attempt to push back and find a way to regulate video game violence? Something to that effect? No,
because I don't know. It's in movies. Mm-hmm. They used to blame movies all the time. Yeah. Then it was video games, so they go, we got something else to point our finger at. And I don't know. It's just, I think with the loot boxes, I hope it gets pushed through that, where it's like, because it's probably pushing back against the fact that if there's something that helps you win in the game, you know, it can't be in there. Yeah. And I'm all for that. So I hope that actually is kind of like a little thing gets scattered around where they're like, okay, we can't have pay. You got to buy these things, and you can win now, because you might not be good, but you got $20, we'll let you win, you know? Right. So I hope that is the going trend coming forward, because I hate that. I'll be more apt to buy a loot box if it's something that I don't have to have than I would if I had to have it, because I can't stand that. I would feel like I'm cheating, and I don't like to cheat.
Well, see, another thing I was a little concerned about, and I've kind of seen this, and I won't really say it's been regulated or cracked down on, but you start to take a look at things like in the television and film industry and where they are now. And in, you know, the grand scheme of things, if you take a look, the video games are really in their infancy if you compare it to film. Right. And you see a lot of the changes that went on in that, and I'm kind of curious if that trend will happen because of this, you know, if there will be that pushback. You know, granted, like you said, they've tried to point the fingers at movies and stuff like that for years, and it didn't really go anywhere. But what about other things that I feel like video games do get away with versus like smoking, for example? There used to be smoking on television, and I'm not advocating it or anything like that. So if you're going to yell at me, which whatever, I'm just saying that if that was part of the show, for whatever reason, if that was the character that they wrote, at some point it became this thing that they just took away from that character.
Right.
You know, because they're like, well, we don't need to have him smoking. Comics did the same thing. Wolverine used to smoke all the time.
He did, yeah.
And then it was just like, well, get that cigar out of his mouth and whatnot. Or I've even saw him with cigarettes. And they're like, don't draw him with cigarettes anymore. Because cigarettes. And I just don't understand, you know, is that going to happen with video games at some point? We're like, well, we can't have, because I think an example I'm thinking of right now is Hellboy in Injustice 2. Comes out with a big cigar in his mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Flicks it off.
But the thing is, there's a rating label. It tells you, hey, there's tobacco use. It tells you everything you want to know. But the thing is, the responsibility for that lies on the parents. Mm. That's the first thing I do is I look on the back of it, okay, you're not playing this. Yeah. Or it might have a few things, and I look at it and I go, you know, she's already seeing this like at school and on TV anyway. So we'll go with that. But that's what that stuff is for the parents to make their choice, not just to walk in there blindly and buy Grand Theft Auto 5 for their 8-year-old. I hate that.
Well, I think that's where it kind of bugs me a little bit is that you'll have these senators who will make these bills and try to make it pass using these people who are ignorant to the fact. Right. Because I'd like to know how many of these parents are actually aware of the loot crate situation. Oh, no. Like what they actually know.
Zero.
Because if they're hearing this bill is going through Congress, like if this actually became big news, because for me personally right now, I don't think this is like big news. Like other you know, news outlets have really covered it to the point where they've turned it into, you know, something larger than it is. Right. But if they did that, would you have parents out there saying, well, loot boxes are just hurting our kids because it's gambling, and just go ape shit crazy, and then the senators look at it and be like, get them, you know, we got them now. Right. They'll vote for it. Yeah. It's just what I'm concerned. That's what I'm concerned about. Now, we haven't seen it yet, but, and again, I agree with what they're doing in Hawaii, you know, how they're trying to push down on it. But I feel like, is there a possibility that this could lead to something? Like somebody will see this as blood in the water and say, like, I bet you we could utilize this to turn it around for something else. I guarantee you there's somebody saying that right now. Yeah. But it's like you said, it's not a big deal yet, and I'm just sick of the senators like pointing their finger at stuff. It's always something. Like, to me, like, I'm all for gun control, but getting rid of guns now is a moot point, you know? Like, there's just no sense in trying to get rid of a gun that there's 15 million guns out there already, you know, the same kind of gun. But make it tougher to get it and fucking make the schools safer, you know? Yeah. Look at that problem. That's the problem, not something else. And that's just what they always do. They point their finger at something else. You know, it's always, if it's violence, it's video games. It used to be music. I remember that with NWA, you know, that being a big deal. Tipper Gore, you know. Suicide. I remember Ozzy Osbourne got targeted. Right. You know. It's just, everybody's looking at something else. What caused this? When really sometimes, you know, it's the person that's looking for an answer. I caused it. Yeah. You know, it's just crazy. You never know. All right, well, nice little argument there. Nice little topic. I don't feel like we had an argument. Well, I say argument. I read the word argument and my eyes just kind of spoke it. I feel like it was more of a conversation. It was a good conversation. But now it's time for release dates. For what? Release dates. Tell me what's coming out this coming week, please. Well, not a whole hell of a lot. No, it's getting ready for... This is a very dry list. Well, I've got 3 games. That's it. That's honestly nice. February 20th, we have Age of Empires Definitive Edition for PC. I'm going to pass. And then for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, we have Metal Gear Survive. I've heard it's kind of cool. What is that? It's kind of a... Man, I think that you have zombies in that game, and it's kind of like you just play online Metal Gear-wise and try to survive, kind of, sort of, with your friends. I think. Dude, I could be wrong. That could just be one mode that I've seen. But I believe that's what it is. All right. But some people, it's had a pretty positive kind of clamoring about it. All right. Now, on February 23rd, we only have one game, and that is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I know of it because my wife watches anime, but yeah, that's about as far as I know. That's all I know from that point. Do piss. You have to pee. Man, hey, I was going to get into retro review. Todd's going to go take a pee now. So, everybody, what I'm going to do here is while he's off and away, I'm just going to sit here and entertain you for a moment because I don't like editing this podcast anymore. You know, it takes a lot of time and effort to edit a podcast. I don't know if you know that or not, because I have to go through and I can be very meticulous listening to every and stuff like that, and it's terrible. And worst of all is that sometimes you got noise in the background, and when you have noise in the background, it gets distracting. You're like, oh, I gotta edit that out too. So he's gone off to the bathroom, and I'm not editing this out. I'm just gonna sit here and talk to you while we're waiting, because it's just terrible. I'll talk to myself, but I know I'm talking to you. I had this bottle of Dasani. I feel like I need it now because I'm getting dry mouth and everything. That is some, plain tasting water is what that is. So, we're just waiting. We're just waiting for him. He shouldn't have drank all that water. And see, he's finally back.
Finally.
Because, we're getting to the good stuff, and you had to go leave.
We almost had gold over here.
But it's fine.
You're
back now.
It was kind of gold.
You're back.
I'm back.
And there's other things going on.
It happened all at once.
Yeah, it did. And
I
that's
almost
good.
pissed myself, and then people left.
That's good. See, it all worked out.
It did.
And I kept everybody entertained.
I know. I don't even want to know what you said.
Well, you can listen to it at a later time, and you can find out. Do you ever listen to the podcast?
I do listen to the podcast.
Good.
I'm just saying I don't want to know what you said.
Do you ever look at my little animations that I create for every single week?
On mine, though, it always says Pencil and Paper Podcast Productions.
But you should still see the icon for the show.
That is the icon for the show.
No, it should be
something
something
that shows
else.
up on my phone.
Well, you're not doing it right.
I want to go see if it shows.
Because each
I know what
episode
you're talking about.
has an icon.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
Especially, and to all of you who are listening out there, if you've never looked at the episode icon, I put a lot of work
on it
and
so hard.
effort into that every week. And I want it to be appreciated, because one day we're going to be at 100 episodes, and I'm going to have this big mural of all of our episode icons posted so everybody can see them.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it would be pretty awesome once we get to 100.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That.
Well, yeah, that's the
there,
channel
and then you go
thing,
in there.
Each episode has its own little piece of art. I worked on this one earlier in the week, and I'm trying to get to a point where I can have more kind of lined up.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I did see the one this week had the welcome.
Bro,
it had the
we just broke the fourth wall.
We did just break the fourth wall. It had the mudfish thing, and I had the what I have
like the little chain whip.
Yeah, I had a whip. I did see it.
So
the retro review. Do I get to guess the retro review?
Sure.
What? Okay, Nintendo system.
Mm-hmm.
What year?
90.
90. Give me a hint. I want one.
We have discussed this in the podcast already, sort of.
Today?
Mm-hmm. Like a topic kind of got brought up, and this would have been part of it.
Oh. I zoned out there in the middle. Give me one hint. Oh, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Is it the arcade game?
Very good, yes.
Yes. That's one of my all-time favorite games.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the Ninja Turtles being released as playable DLC on Injustice 2, I thought it would be cool to reminisce about one of their more popular video games.
Yeah.
Now, in 1989, fans of the Ninja Turtles could come home after school, grab a slice of peanut butter and anchovy pizza.
Nasty.
Yeah. That's what they used to eat. And then watch their totally radical adventures on the TV screen, dude.
Yeah, they always came on at a weird time. Mm-hmm. They came on right before I got home every time, and I would always catch the damn credits.
Yeah.
I never knew I always heard the theme song at the end, and I'm like, oh, but that's a cool show.
Like if only you would come on 30 minutes later.
Yeah, come home when I actually get home from school.
Now, when Ultra Games released the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you could play as your favorite Ninja Turtle. Unfortunately, I don't know if you remember, but the game was difficult as hell, mainly due to some very difficult controls and
it was
some poor level design, and it was only single player.
But it was fun.
But do you remember the dam and the electric? Yeah. What was it? They weren't tentacles; they were like electric
Wait a minute.
seaweed or something like that.
You talking about the arcade game? Or you talking
No,
about
I'm talking about the. Right now, we're talking about the original.
the original Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
That game was unforgiving, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about the arcade
No,
game.
no. We're getting to that. Pay attention to what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
well, I did. I said the arcade game, and you said, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm working up to that.
Okay, gotcha.
Because that's all we had at the time. When Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles
that was
was
it.
at its fad, that game was there, and we're like,
Like the little bus, you drive around, and you go in a manhole cover, and then just be totally screwed because the game was terrible.
yeah, it was a trial.
It was.
I don't even think I got past the dam. Was where I always got stuck.
I remember the dam. You had the little area broke off, and you would fall off in the water,
Yeah,
and that was your water world level. Yeah,
that was as far as I really got.
Because it had the you just said the tentacles, the pink tentacles that hung down.
And you would get shocked no matter what you did. You'd always touch them.
No matter what you did. Don't touch them. You would just curl up and fall out of the dam.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's like I don't know what to do. It's just terrible. Anyway, despite those flaws, that's all we had, and we would play it. I played it several times. As mad as it made me, I was just like, "This is the only Ninja Turtle game I have."
Yeah, I would just drive around in a damn bus because that was the fun part.
That song's playing right now.
Right now.
Now, one day, I'm just going to tell you my experience, my first experience.
I want to hear
this.
it.
One day, during a school field trip, some friends and I stumbled upon an arcade, which were common back in those days.
I miss them.
Numerous games in the arcade were vying for our attention, but only one really stood out. Our eyes gazed upon it, and you saw April O'Neil in her little yellow jumpsuit. I don't know why I said pink. Yeah.
April O'Neil was hot, especially on that cover.
And then the Ninja Turtles were just, in this semi-realistic look to them. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, was there. And it wasn't the linear platforming game we all knew from home, but this was a side-scrolling, beat-em-up action game that you could just beat the crap out of the foot soldiers, and you could play with 4 people. So you
4 people. That was the best part.
Ninja Turtles on the screen at the same time. That was just, at the time, it was just all the Ninja Turtles at once.
Yeah.
We can all play together, so all of us are just pumping in quarters. There they are. Which turtle you want to be? You can be your favorite turtle, I can be my favorite turtle, and we're all going to play Ninja Turtles together.
If your favorite turtle was my favorite turtle, we'd flip a coin.
Yeah.
I always liked Leonardo.
Yeah, Raphael was always my favorite.
Yeah.
Now, in that moment, nothing was greater. I don't know how many quarters we put into that machine.
God, no, I don't either.
But our appetite for this game was not satiated. So when shopping centers would greet you with that little arcade machine outside the door, you remember when Walmart had arcade games? Yeah.
Have you seen an arcade today, what it looks like?
No, I haven't.
They're there.
I mean, the closest I've seen is what they have in movie theaters.
Okay,
and that's just
it's a lot like that. Like you have one ski table. What do you call it? Air hockey. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I couldn't get the shit out. One air hockey table, and then all the other games. They're not even games anymore. They get this teddy bear, the claw game.
Yeah, that rigged ass claw game.
Man, makes me mad as hell. I almost won an Apple iPad though. Hell, I would have loved them if I would have won that. But that's all it is now. In like a driving game and that motorcycle game, that damn motorcycle game where you lean the motorcycle. Shit is no fun.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
And that's it. And there's probably a gun game.
There's never a fighting game there anymore. It's always a gun game.
None. There's no games where there's like actual levels that you play through anymore, like Bad Dudes. You remember that?
Yeah.
We talked
Why
about
don't they
that
bring back the Play Choice 10 games? You remember those? Where there's a bunch of Nintendo games you can just pick whatever, pop in a quarter, and you can play Mario Brothers for like 3 minutes.
I feel like I remember Mario Brothers when it was Mario Brothers and Excitebike. Mm-hmm. Like at Mr. Gaddy's.
Yeah. There's a throwback. If any of you out there know what Mr. Gaddy's is, please let us know. That used to be a thing around here.
It did. There was one in probably about 45 minutes from here. There's one that and a Pizza Inn. You remember Pizza Inn?
Yeah, I remember.
There's a lot of good games in there too. Mm-hmm. Ninja Turtles that might be the first place I played Ninja Turtles. Pizza Inn.
That model was actually kind of popular at the time. I don't know if you remember that, but there was the X-Men game, which was based off of an unreleased cartoon that never happened.
Simpsons.
The Simpsons, and I even remember like a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I remember the Ghostbusters game. Do you remember it?
I don't remember that.
No. You had 4 players, and you had your back, your proton packs, and it's kind of not top down.
Yeah.
But like kind of, I don't know, kind of like Dead Nation.
Okay.
3/4 of the way, you know,
Yeah.
you know, kind of sort of.
Yeah, that kind of does sound
that?
familiar now. It's vague. It's
and
vague
you
in
can
my
get
head.
the different power-ups made your proton pack different.
I might have to look that up.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I want to see if I can pull it up.
Now, after we left that arcade, you know, obviously we wanted more, but you had to find it at an arcade. And if your local arcade or wherever you got your arcade fix was at didn't have it, you're just screwed. Now, after months of hoping to lay eyes on that glorious cabinet once again, a Nintendo Power article caught my eyes, letting me know that arcade game that I have fallen in love with would now be coming home. Immediately, my excitement went through the roof. I could now play the arcade game at home?
Yes,
Insane, I thought. But nevertheless, it brought me much joy. Now, obviously, arcade hardware was much more advanced than home console hardware was at the time, so despite having a graphically downgraded version that only allowed 2 players, it was still awesome to have this game to play without draining a pocket full of quarters, which you would have do.
Yeah.
You still had the option to pick from 4 turtles. Each had kind of their own color variation, not just from the mask, but I mean like their skin pigments and stuff like that, so varied greens. To make them stand out, and they also had kind of a variant on how they fight it, or they fought.
They fighted.
I said fighted. I don't know
did
why my
say
brain
fighted.
said fighted.
That's what you get for making fun of me peeing.
How they fought.
They fighted.
They fighted, man.
Look, there's Ghostbusters. Do you remember that? It looked a little better on
sort of.
the arcade, like, you know how it always looked a little better on arcade.
There's a vague memory of it, but it's so hard to put my finger on. Leonardo was your well-rounded fighter. Donatello had long-reaching attacks, but he was a little slower than the other turtles. And Michelangelo and Raphael were faster, but they had a shorter range. Plus, each turtle had their own unique special attack, which they could perform. I was always partial to Raphael, as I said. He was my favorite. Leonardo was yours. I think my brother used to play as Donnie all the time.
See, we would be perfect. We could get somebody to be Michelangelo.
I mean, everybody liked Michelangelo, or at least, you know, that used to be the consensus. He was the breakout. Whoa, dude! Whatever.
Yeah.
No, he's cool. He's all right. Now, the story in the game was still the same as the arcade version, but to give a little bit more bang for your buck, the home version featured extended versions of the arcade levels, as well as an additional few levels not seen in the arcade. I never got far enough in the arcade to notice, so, you know. By the way, did you happen to know? I mean, you still fight the Foot and Shredder and all that, but did you know that the Foot Clan and the whole Ninja Turtles is a parody on Daredevil?
Really?
Yeah. Think about it. Daredevil fights the hand. Ninja Turtles fight the foot. It's a parody.
Pretty soon they're going to team up and fight the whole damn body.
Right? Somebody needs to be the head.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're fighting Shredder and Krang, and they kidnap April, and you gotta go rescue her. The usual fare at that time. You punch and kick your way through a wave of multicolored foot soldiers, all color-coded to identify with a particular set of skills. I think you had your basic purple, and then there was a yellow one with stars, or I don't know what he had. And then you had a red one with bombs.
Yeah.
There was ones that ride motorcycles, and then you had the white ones, and they throw snowballs at you.
Motorcycles when you're on a skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember those.
What else do we do here? Oh, yeah, each level is topped off with a boss. Usually a well-known character from the television series like Bebop and Rocksteady. You had Baxter Stockman and even General Tragg. He's one of those oddball ones, but do you remember him? He was like the Krang's Rock Army General or something.
Yeah, it had the Army hand one up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do remember fighting him. He was kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were actually 2 new bosses added to the home version, which were Tora and Shogun. Tora, I think, was kind of like a wolf creature, and Shogun was a robotic Shogun warrior.
Right.
Which actually, I think, I remember liking his design, because I'm almost positive I drew him as a kid, or at least tried to, as best I could. And I think I still have that drawing somewhere. But that paper's probably like half dead.
Halfway. So you can probably make out what's on it.
Probably. Another interesting tidbit about the home version was the notable product placement by Pizza Hut in the form of logos seen throughout the game. There was actually a coupon on the back of the instruction manual for 1 free personal pan pizza.
That's right, I remember that.
They had a huge Pizza Hut deal, because you remember they had that album they cut.
Oh my God, no, I don't remember that.
It was called Coming Out of Their Shell Tour, and they went on tour playing music and stuff like that, and then you could get that album at Pizza Hut.
They really did that?
Yeah. You don't remember
Did
this?
you go to that?
I never went to the show, but I had the album. I remember that.
Is it good?
I mean, as a kid, you're just like, I'm listening to Ninja Turtles sing. so you think you are. So you eat it up.
Oh God.
I mean, there were a few catchy tunes. You know, you could sit there and say like they weren't like the greatest hits ever written, but you could probably sit there and listen to it and be like, it's actually all right.
So it was their own music. It wasn't like them covering stuff.
Well, I hate to get off on this, but I've got to talk about this. Okay, so when they did this tour, it was like the traveling tours where you take the kids and they do the stage show and whatnot. There was I don't even remember where I got this. I just remember I got it. My parents got it for me, something like that, because I knew I'd love it because it was Ninja Turtles. And it was a behind-the-scenes video, probably like 20, 30 minutes of this stage thing. Now, there was a bit in there, and I swear to God, because they were trying to act like the Turtles are real and stuff like that, so they were having interviews with them and stuff like that, and they were showing their instruments, like the one-stringed guitar, which can make all sorts of music somehow. Don't know. It didn't make any sense. As a kid, you're just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So when they're taking their big two fingers and hitting the blades or whatever, you're just like, sure, that makes sense. But there was a scene in there, and I think they were trying to interview Raphael and Michelangelo, and I don't even remember what they asked them, but they seemed stoned out of their minds because their response was, yeah, dude.
And it was like, you didn't even
answer the question. Just silence, and it was like, all right. Like, we're making music.
What did they ask them?
I don't know. But that was just their response. It was just so distant and just, it's like, are they okay?
And you loved it back then.
But as a kid, I did not realize it at the time. I was just like, cool, Ninja Turtles. I had a friend of mine, years later, when I told him I had that, he was like, dude, you've got to let me see that. Because he remembered things about it. And he's like, they were just, you got to see all this stuff. So I went back and rewatched it and was like, oh my God, he was right. It was just terrible.
Do you still have it?
I don't know. I don't know if I still have it now.
I bet you can find that on YouTube.
Probably.
What's it called?
Ninja Turtles Coming Out of Their Shell behind the scenes tour.
Oh my God, I gotta look and see. I gotta see this.
All right, I'm sorry I had to get off on that.
That's okay.
To make up for it, I'll play one of the tracks.
Don't do that.
It will be playing in the background so everybody can hear their awesome music, like Pizza Power.
No,
it's a Pizza Power. Okay, sorry. They've done worse. There was a Christmas album they cut, and we're not even going to talk about that. Now, there have been many Ninja Turtle games. I'm sure you're familiar with a few. I feel like there were only a few that were ever noteworthy. There was a sequel, in a manner of speaking, to this game on the Nintendo called The Manhattan Project. But I kind of feel like it never amounted to much. It was more like just almost like the discarded levels of this game. Just say, let's just put this crap together.
It was fun.
It was lower. It almost seemed like a lower budget. I hate to say, it was just like just slap a game together and put it out.
It's gonna sell. Screw it.
But the true successor to this game, I would say, would be Turtles in Time.
Loved it
because it also came out in the arcades. It had a very true port, from what I remember.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, the game was really amped up. It just took everything from the original game and just, made it better from the graphics, sound design, even the dynamics. You remember when you could actually take the foot soldiers and chuck them at the screen?
Is that the scene right there, Dave?
That's it. That's the scene.
That's the scene.
Yes, that scene right there in that thumbnail. That's it. So we're going to have to check that out when we're done.
Oh, my God.
But do you remember throwing the foot soldiers at the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was always like a cool thing. Wasn't there like a boss fight where that was actually part of it? You had to chuck it at...
I can't remember whoever you were fighting.
It was either Shredder or Krang.
I want to say it was Krang. Mm-hmm.
Were you sitting there controlling something and something was just shooting at you and all these foot soldiers and you just had to...
You had to chuck them up to the screen, and it was like you were hitting like his screen or his vehicle or whatever he was doing. He was in.
Very awesome idea. Very dynamic.
Very cool. Did the Battletoads do something like that?
don't feel like they did.
I can't remember.
I remember they always, like, the big fists and the big boots.
That might be what I'm thinking of. I feel like I just remember them throwing stuff too at the screen, but maybe I'm thinking of Ninja Turtles.
Ass-kicking amphibians. Who knew that was a thing?
Man, damn.
Anyway,
ruthless.
it was a cool idea then. Great idea now. Whatever reason, I don't feel like a game in the series. Those two games are the two that really stand out, but there's not been another game in the series since that have really been great.
Nope.
I mean, I remember, I think the last Ninja Turtle game I played was that digital, the downloadable one they did. Was it Out of the Shadows?
Something, and you didn't like it, did you?
It was just, I mean, it was all right, but
Was it episodic?
no, it was just like I wouldn't even call it a brawler like this. I guess it kind of was, but it was just kind of sluggish. I never finished it.
I remember it having somebody big did it though, didn't they?
Platinum Games.
Yeah, that's right. Platinum
And
Game. It
you
was a
think that they
surprise
would've-
game.
yeah.
It was like, hey, we're doing this game. It's going to release next week, kind of thing.
And they've got a great track record. That was
Yeah.
just like the smudge on it that kind of ruined it. Why this franchise has languished in video game world for so long is mind-boggling. I don't understand why this formula seems to be a hard nut to crack. It just seems like pretty cut and dry. You know, it works in a fighting game over here. As long as it's done right, it works as a beat 'em up, co-op. If you do it right. I don't know. Having them as guests in somebody else's video game right now is a welcome treat. Maybe soon, one day, we'll be treated to a new classic that doesn't have to be this game, but one that just allows us to join in an adventure with our favorite heroes in a half shell in a more memorable game.
Open world, 4-player co-op, Ninja Turtles, and Big Apple.
I can dig it.
Mm-hmm.
You could traverse the sewers.
Yep.
Up and around.
You got the party wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Could all ride together. Do the skateboards through the sewers.
I kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Somebody, if you want that idea,
It's $20.
just let us know.
$20.
We'll design it for you. We'll give you the details on what we want you to create. That's what we'll do.
Yeah. We could do that a lot, I think.
I think so.
Is that it?
That's it.
I only took one pee this time.
I know.
Just one.
But we managed without you.
You did
The
good.
audience was sticking around. Because if I didn't keep talking, they were going to leave.
That could have been crickets.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what you said.
Well, you'll find out.
I guess I will.
You have found out by now by listening to it. Just like everybody else.
Yeah. If I'm listening right now, then I have found out.
You have. Now, as we're talking about our listeners, we'd like to thank all of our listeners for being here every week. If you've reached this point in the show, you are incredibly awesome, and you are the reason we did this.
A winner is you.
A winner is you. Dun, 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 dun. Was there music behind that?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. If there is, maybe I'll play it. Also, a big shout out to our patrons who make this show and other shows we do possible. If you're interested in supporting the show, you can head over to patreon.com/pencil-and-paper-productions and give it a look-see. See what you think. Again, thank you so much for listening. I am Stephen White.
And I am Todd Stark.
Join us again next time.
When John's here.
But until then, game on.